One.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream post Superman week. I'm Richard at Richard on the forum.
And I'm Daryl at Darzu on the forum.
I'm Joey at JWonder on the forum.
I'm Shannon at Shakao on the forum.
And I'm Vivian at Live Cheerful on the forum.
All right, and I came in today with an idea for a stream, but I think it's probably going to be too much for us to do in one sitting. But we're going to try and get as far as we can. And the idea for the game that I had was based on an old Flash game called Captain Forever. You can play it for free online. It's a fun game. I do not endorse it or anything, but try it. And one of the cool things about Captain Forever is you play as a ship, and you battle other ships. And when they get destroyed, you can take their parts and add them to your ship to get bigger. And it's a lot of fun. And so I thought it might be an interesting snippet to show how to attach sprites to other sprites, and also have this cool kind of building mechanic. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an extension to our project. It's our old friend, Arcade Sprite Data. And we're adding this because I want to be able to keep track of which sprites are attached to which. And luckily, inside of our Arcade Sprite Data, there is a set data to sprite, which we can use to attach sprites to each other. So let's get something on the screen first, and then we can start working on the attach logic. So I'm going to go with a pretty minimal aesthetic. And also, I'm going to make these sprites not 16 by 16 because I want us to have more room for stuff to go on the screen. So I'm going to make them 8 by 8. And I think our ship is just going to be a pink square. And this pink square is going to be our core. So it's going to be the center thing, and it's the thing that we're going to be controlling, and everything else is going to be attached to. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this variable to be the core. And I'm going to add a new kind, and this is going to be called ship part. So everything that we attach to the ship is going to be of type ship part. And we're going to use that a little bit later to handle the repositioning of sprites based on the attach. So let's go ahead and make so we can move our core around. Let's just do move with buttons. Cool. Move around now. And also, I'm going to set the stay in screen flag. We might decide to do a tile map later, but for now, I'm just going to make this a one screen game. Cool. So now I can't go outside the screen, which is nice. All right. So let's start with the sprite attaching. And I already have an idea of how to do this. I tested it out before stream, so let's give it a shot. I'm going to create a function, and it's going to be called attach sprite. This is going to take in 3 arguments. The first one is going to be the anchor. So this is the thing that the other thing is going to be attached to, right? So when you attach 2 things, you kind of have this relationship where one is going to be moving with the other one. So in that case, it's going to be the anchor. The other thing we want to do is we want to add in another sprite, which is the attached. So we can do it like that. And then finally, we want to add a direction. So our core is a square. So we're going to be using a number for the direction. Did I make that a number?
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, cool. Calculator means number. Okay. And real quick, I'm going to write out our classic compass direction guide. So 0 is north, 1 is, I'm just gonna do top, right, bottom, because I always get east and west mixed up.
Me too. But it's only been in the last 4 years that I get them mixed up. Before then, I had no issue.
What happened?
I don't know. Something broke in my brain. Now it's just wired.
It was just one really bad sea journey. It changed you forever.
Maybe I should, yeah.
So I always do the compass directions in never eat soggy waffles order. So north, east, south, west. And yeah, I know everybody has a different version of that little thing, but mine was never eat soggy waffles, and it's the thing that I remember. Okay, so let's handle the attaching now. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that we can attach sprites in all 4 of the directions. And so I'm going to go ahead and put in an if statement here, and we're going to switch over the different directions. So let's go ahead and go into logic, drag out. Oh, whoops, that's a string equals. Let's get the number 1. And we'll make this 0, 1, 2. Okay. And now we're going to use our sprite data extension to attach everything to one another. So let's go ahead and do that now. And the way we're going to do that is by using the sprite data. So I'm going to change this first argument to be the anchor. And the second argument is going to be attached. And for the data, I think what we're going to do is we're going to store direction 0. Or you know what? Let's just make it a little more explicit. Top. And we're going to do it all for all the other ones too. So this one will be right. This one bottom. This one left. Okay, so that's neat. Let's go ahead and test this code out. And the way I'm going to test it out is just by calling this function real quick. So first, we're going to have to create another ship part. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Just use my sprite. And we'll make this one orange. And let's go ahead and call our function to attach my sprite, that's the second argument, to the core, because we only want the core to be our anchor in this case. And we'll pass 1 that's right, so it should be going to the right of the sprite. Okay, so we've done this attaching thing, but right now it's not doing anything. We've stored it on the sprite, but we haven't added the logic to actually position the sprite based off the attached stuff. So to do that, we're going to be using an on-game update loop. We want to do this for every single sprite. So we're going to use this on-game update and loop over all sprites of the kind ship part. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. It should be an arrays. I always forget. And we're going to use a for of loop. So this one right here. For element of array of all sprites of kind ship part. All right. Now we're going to do an if statement that looks kind of like this one. We're going to, for each of the 4 directions, see if there is a sprite that is attached in each of those directions. And we can do that by using, actually, we don't want this to be an if-else. We want it to just be 4 if statements. Because you can have things attached in 2 directions, or 4 directions. Okay. So we're going to create a variable called attached sprite. And we're going to set attached sprite to be the data in a given direction. So let's go ahead and start with top. Oops. There we go. OK, so there's 2 things that can be returned by this data block. The first one is a sprite that is attached. The second one is if we haven't attached anything, it'll return nothing. So in JavaScript, we call that undefined, but you can just think of it as nothing being attached. And in order to check if we got something or not, we can take this variable and just put it inside of the if statement. So if this returns nothing, so nothing is attached to top, this code won't run. But if it does return something, this code will run, and we can change the position. So let's go ahead and add the code for changing the position right now. So we're going to set the attached sprites x to be the same as our values x, because we're attached to the top, so we want it to be centered on the sprite in the x direction. So let's get out Vivian's favorite block. And since we're attaching it to the top, we want the bottom of the attached sprite to be the top of our other sprite. All right. So which direction did I attach in? Okay, let's change this to top, and we should be able to see this code work. All right, so it's attached to the top of my sprite, and it's getting stuck. That's because every frame, when our sprite moves, this code is going to run, and it's going to set these properties. So they will always be stuck together, which is pretty neat. All right, let's do this for the other directions. You know what? I'm going to get rid of all of these except for one, and I'm going to use the trick that Daryl talked about yesterday, which is to duplicate a bunch of blocks all at once by putting them inside of an if statement. Ugh, I made a mess.
Sometimes you have to get messy to be highly efficient.
Yes,
and super
sometimes
cool.
You need to break a few blocks to make a blocklet. Something like that.
Wait, a block web? Is that what you said?
I said blocklet, like in a block omelet.
Oh, I always thought the phrase was you need to break some eggs to make a cake.
What?
Because you make
Okay.
cake with eggs too.
Can you guys back me up that is not the expression?
I don't know, actually. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I think I've heard omelet before, but I mean it makes sense for a cake too, and cakes are cooler than omelets.
Yeah, you can live without an omelet, but can you live without cake? You could, but it'd be super sad.
So the easy way to do this direction is we're always setting the property opposite to the one that is it's attached to. So for the, I already did the bottom. So we're setting the top to be the bottom here, as opposed to bottom to top in the top. So for right, we know we want it to be left here, and we want this one to be right. And instead of setting the X as the first one, I changed it to be Y. And we'll do the opposite for left. So change this to be Y again. Change this to be right. And this to be left. Okay, let's test this out real quick. So we've already tested the top. That works fine. Let's now make it right. Cool. Let's make this bottom. Neat. Left. Cool. Our attaching code works.
Woo!
All
I
right.
feel like maybe this should be an extension later.
Yeah, I think so. I think this would make a good extension. All right, cool. So we're kind of done with this code now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why isn't it a problem when we have a lot of ship parts that we need to update? Like, why do we not care about the order that we're updating them in?
Oh yeah, that'll matter. But
okay.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay, cool. I thought there's something, that magic or something.
Mm-mm.
Cool.
So it does matter what order we update them in, because, for example, if I were to do this, I think this will not work quite as well. Nope, it seems to work fine. All right. Well, in any case, there is a problem that Vivian just mentioned. That is a real problem, which is we need to know the order in which to update them. Because if one sprite is already attached to this sprite, we might move it based on this sprite's location before this one has been moved based off this one location. And I have a plan for this. It's kind of a plan based off my knowledge of the internals of Arcade, but it's going to work. So don't worry about it. All right. Let's create some things for us to attach. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our test code right here. And let's start spawning some ship parts. So I'm just going to do an on-game update every 500 milliseconds right now. And we'll just put them randomly on the screen. So let's go ahead and create.
They could be projectiles coming from the top, as if, you know, you're flowing through water.
Sure, that would work. I don't want to use projectiles though. So I'll be doing this. The reason I don't want to use projectiles is because they have a lot of extra flags set on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need those flags. Okay. So we're going to set our new ship part to be a sprite of kind, and I think this is going to be unattached ship part. And let's go ahead and set the sprite on this guy. So 8 by 8. Whoops. I am going to go ahead and put it just at a random location right now. And we'll do something a little more interesting in the future. Like Daryl mentioned, we want this game to be a little bit more dynamic, but right now I'm still kind of testing stuff. So we're just going to do this for now. And let me go into math, get a pick random. X can go from, let's say, 10 to 150. And Y can go from 10 to 110. So this will give us a 10 pixel kind of border around the screen where things won't appear, which is important because otherwise they'll be like half off the screen. All right, cool. This is happening way too fast. Make this 5 seconds. Cool. All right, let's write some overlap code. So the idea that I have is that when we overlap one of these sprites, we're going to attach it to whichever side it's getting hit on. And it's going to be a little trick to kind of do that logic for which direction it's getting hit on. But we can figure it out, I think, if we try hard enough.
That's beautiful. It'd be nicer if it's like, we can figure it out if we all work together and try hard enough. But I think you can do this without us.
No,
I have cake.
I need you guys.
Nice.
All right. So we're attaching now. So let's go ahead and on sprite of kind ship part overlaps with other sprite of kind unattached ship part. We want to change the second one's kind to be ship part now because it's being attached. And this will make it so that it can attach to other sprites, which should be cool.
You're scrolling past it. No.
Stop. Yeah. There. Okay. And for now, let's just go ahead and drag out our attached block. We want the anchor to be the ship part, so right here. And let's just attach it to the same direction every time. So this will be right, I believe. Cool. Grabbed that one. Grabbed that one. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
So what happened there is I attached a sprite to a direction that it was already attached to, and that made me lose it. And now these guys are stuck forever because I can't reattach them because I changed their kind. So what we need to do is we need to make sure we don't attach to a direction that already has a sprite attached to it. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to create another function, which is has attachment in direction. And it's going to take in a sprite. This will be the anchor. And it's going to take in a number, which is going to be the direction. And the code is going to look very similar to this. With a little bit of this mixed in. Okay. Go ahead and recollapse this. And we're going to use a return thing here. So the way this is going to work is we're going to, oh, it's mad at me because I'm only returning a value in one of these. You need to return a value in all of them, or else it'll get angry at you with this error. So I want to set this attached sprite to be a value data with the right direction, not value. It should be anchor data in that direction. And we want to convert this into a Boolean. There's a fun way to do that, and that is to not it. Does someone want to try and explain this?
I guess the way you can think about it is, we saw before how we could just drop a variable into an if-else and it would just like work. That's because all objects in JavaScript, which this is kind of based off of our blocks, have a truthiness or a falsiness. And basically that is, does it exist? Then it's truthy. Most of the time. There's some weird exceptions. Not just means, the not will always convert it to a Boolean explicitly. So it'll always say, does this exist? If it is, and you not it, then it's false. And if it doesn't exist, and you not it, it's true. So not will just convert it to a Boolean and then convert it back to what it was originally. Like, is it actually truthy?
Yeah, that's a better job than I would have done. So I'm glad that Joey did it.
We probably should have a not exist or does exist block or something like that to just be explicit.
Yeah, we should add that to the Sprite data extension. I agree. It would make a lot of this stuff easier. Okay, well, anyway, I refactored my code a little bit while Joey was talking, and I put the return down here because I didn't need to change this return for each of them. So there we go. And what I'm going to do is, when I'm attaching something, I'm going to loop over all of the directions. So from 0 to 3, because if we look at our key, 3 is the highest direction. And if there is not an attachment in that direction, so let's go to functions and call has attachment in direction. We want this first argument, oh, whoops, that's stuck in there. We want that first argument to be Sprite. We want our second argument to be the direction. Then we want to attach it in that direction. So attach Sprite, other Sprite to index. And I'm going to rename this index to be direction.
Wait,
right,
don't we want not of has attachment and direction?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
Vivian is correct.
So really it's not
All right.
not now.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so we pick this guy up. Oh no, I did something wrong. Let's see. Okay. So if not has attachment in direction, Sprite, and then direction. Let's go ahead and look at our code again. If direction is 0, we check the top. If it's 1, we check right. If it's 2, we check bottom. If it's anything else, we check left. And then we return not attached Sprite. That looks right to me.
Was it just the kind issue before? Or was it something else?
I don't think that was it. Maybe it was, though.
I think it was, yeah. Because it was just touching it as soon as you touched it the first time, right?
Oh.
Nope. Yep.
No, but why can I not attach things to? Oh, I know what's happening. Oh no, we don't have break, do we?
Nope, no break.
All right. So we need a variable called. So what's happening here is we are attaching it in every direction. Because we say if not attached in that direction, then we attach it. And of course, this is nonsense because we only actually do one of the directions. But in our positioning code, we are always going to position to the left because that's the last direction we check. So in order to make this work better, I'm going to, or I guess work at all, I'm going to create this variable called didAttach. In here, we will set didAttach to be true. And we're going to change this if statement to make sure that if didAttach is true, we don't do this again. And we can do that using an AND block. So if not has attachment and not didAttach, then do the attached.
Nice.
All right, I need to make this spawn faster.
I could totally see like a shipbuilding / Tetris game happening. Competitive Tetris.
I think maybe it needs to check what direction its parent is in as well,
Yeah.
or something.
Probably. I think that's right.
This
Cool.
looks great,
Okay.
though.
Well, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So the thing that Shannon was mentioning was that we have some that are kind of being double attached, because if you attach something and then attach something to that and then attach something to that and then attach something to that and then attach something to that, you end up with like a spiral that goes back on itself, right? So you can see you can't actually see the core anymore. And that's because we've attached something that has, gone on top of it. This is fun though. All right, so let's kind of figure out a solution for that. Also, something that I have just realized, I think that we don't actually have to do anything to deal with that problem that I mentioned to Vivian earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because that array thing will always return the sprites in the order they were created.
Oh.
But wait. No, that's not perfect. So like if I were to grab this one, then this one, I just cannot create a test case for this that does not work. Maybe this isn't a bug. Logically, I don't know why it isn't, but
Some of them seem to be attaching to the wrong side still.
they do. I
I'm not
didn't do any. Yeah, I didn't do anything to make sure which side they should be attached to. So right now, it'll always attach in the order north, east, south, west.
What was the bug again that you were thinking should be there but we don't see?
The idea was when we reorder, when we do this positioning stuff,
Mhm.
we need to position first based off the core and then position everything else. That doesn't seem to be an issue.
Right. So in theory, the way that would happen is if you let one sit on the screen for a while, collect a bunch of others, and then collect that one, and it would mess it up.
Yeah, let's try it out. So I'm just gonna let a bunch show up for now, and that one up there,
It's any on the left side of the screen.
I go North Star.
Yeah.
All right, let's go pick up some. And no, okay. There's something happening that is making this bug not actually be a bug,
So-
but I'm okay with it.
Maybe it's when you assign the kind. I wonder if that reorders the list or something.
Oh, it could be. That could be it.
Mm.
Oh, that is absolutely what it is. Yes, that is what it is.
Wait.
Gold star, Daryl.
What the
Oh.
heck? I want to go Gold Star.
I gave you a gold star like a few weeks ago.
Oh,
I want
yes.
one every day.
Guys, you
Otherwise,
got to
what
keep
am I
track of these
doing?
gold stars, by the way, because you're going to be able to exchange them for Richard
My
bucks.
goodness.
If you get enough Richard bucks, you can get the bicycle at the back of the store. All
Joey,
right.
can you add a gold star to our name tags?
Sure.
Um,
But yes, I can also confirm that Daryl is right from my recollection. What's a gold star look like on the internet?
no, I'll send you an emoji.
Oh,
suggestion.
don't worry, I found. I
Okay.
don't want to use that one. Somebody's selling that one.
Oh, no.
Royalty free.
So let's think of a solution to make it so that we don't do this doubling up thing. And the first thing that I can think of is we have basically a grid of ship parts here, right? So what if we stored a grid that represented our ship, and we checked to see if something is already in that location, in addition to checking to see if we have an attached. Actually, we don't even need this has attachment and direction if we just store where everything is relative to each other.
Right. I mean, you don't even need like the concept of attachments if you use a grid. You just need
True.
build cells. But I think maybe it's also okay to overlap a little. I can't think of a non-grid solution.
The thing I like about the attaching is that if we eventually get to the part where we start getting like hit by things, and if it gets broken, all the things that were attached to it will also be off, you know?
Yeah.
Which is fun. So let's keep the attachment stuff, but also use a grid to keep track, I think.
Could you just use a second pass overlaps check of like, well, no, that sounds too difficult.
Yeah, and you would have to do it you would have to reposition every time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could write some code that just walks it, starts with the core and then walks out in all of the directions and then builds the grid. That seems like overkill though, right?
Yeah, I feel like it'd be better just to store a coordinate starting with 0, 0 as your core.
Okay. Let's do that. So what's the maximum size of our ship? All these are 8 by 8, right? So I guess the maximum size of our ship would be, let's say, half the screen. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay, so our screen is 120, and if I do some math real quick, that means that our max would be 15 in height. We're 160 this way, so it would be 10. So 10 by 15 is the size of the grid that we need to keep track of. And so I could do this with a double array, but that's kind of annoying to do in blocks. So I'm going to do a easier way, which is I'm just going to use an image. An image is already a grid, and we can just set colors. All right, so we're going to call this the ship grid. And we're going to set our ship grid to be right here. We want the width to be 10. We want the height to be 15. And the other thing we're going to do is we need to set our kind of location for our sprite. So to do that, I'm going to use the sprite data again, and we're going to set an X and a Y. So let's go ahead and drag out our data number, or a column and row, I guess would probably be better. Let's do that. So we're going to set the core to be the center of our grid, which is going to be 5, 7. Is that right?
Yeah.
5, 7. At least as close to the center as we can get. All right. Let's go ahead and go to our attached sprite. And now we're going to have to make some changes here. All right, so I'm going to create new variables, and this is going to be called new column. New row.
How many gold stars do I owe, and to who?
Pretty sure Vivian has one and Daryl has one.
Oh, okay, so we're all good then.
Yeah. By the way, 10 gold stars, 1 Richard Buck. 100 Richard Bucks, you get the bicycle. So you can do the math. Okay. So let's go ahead and set these to be new row and new column. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to change these based off. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to do it in this attach. I think with the attach, I'm not going to do any checks. I'm just going to do the attach blindly, you know. And then inside of our has attachment, this will be where I do the check. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it.
Wait, why?
Because I always call this before I do an attach.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So let's go ahead and set those properties on our attached sprite. And we're going to use the sprite data again. And we don't actually need those variables I just created, I'm realizing now, because Pelly was smart when he made this extension, and there is a change number by, which is nice. So the first thing we're going to do is just at the top of this, we're going to set the number to be the same as the one from the parent. So the same as the one from the anchor. And we need a get number now. And now we do the same thing for the row. And now in here, we're going to change the column or the row depending on which direction we're going in. So let's go into Sprite data, drag out that change one I just mentioned, fix the arguments. Oh, not anchor. We want to change. So this is up. So we want to change the row in this case. It should be by -1. Let's go ahead and do bottom. It should be +1. Now we'll do the right. So that'll be the column. We want to change that by +1. And the left, which will be by -1. And the other thing we need to do is keep track of this inside of our sprite grid, our ship grid. So I'm going to go and set the pixel on that ship grid. And we'll do it right here. Change this to be ship grid. And instead of anchor, we want to use attached. And what's a color that represents something positive?
Yellow. No.
It's green because you guys took too long to respond. Okay.
I put thought into my answer.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was attempting to unmute.
Oh no.
All right, I'm going to collapse this one again. And now let's go. Oh, wait, I'm going to have to uncollapse this right now. So we want to get these numbers again over here. And now we can use those variables I created before. So we had the new column and new row. What am I doing? Yeah, nope. Third time's the charm. New column to be the column. We're going to set new row to be the row up at the top. And we don't actually need to check these directions anymore, which is nifty, because everything is in the sprite grid. So we can just check the right cell in the sprite grid. So I can get rid of this not thing, which is nice. OK, so if the direction is 0, we want to change by -1. It's just going to match the thing over here. So you can watch me copy those things over. So this should be row -1. This will be +1. should be column. Oh, I messed up the capitalization. Should be -1. And now we want to return if the color at this new column, new row is equal to yellow. That means we already have something there. So let's go ahead and do that real quick.
It's green, I think.
I bullied Richard.
Yep.
I guilted him.
I think bullying is appropriate. Okay. Ship grid color at X, Y equals whatever yellow is. Is there a color block in here? No. Okay. We'll just figure it out. 2 is red.
Pink is
5.
Ah.
Yeah, if you
Also a
hover over the
positive
things in the
number.
palette, it tells you, which is nifty because I always forget the numbers, and I'm the best of remembering the numbers of everyone on this call, I think.
Oh no.
Okay, equals 5. The other nice thing about this is I'm pretty sure if we put in an invalid coordinate, it's going to return 0. So if we go beyond the maximum width or maximum height of ship grid, or if we go negative, it'll still return 0, and this will return that'll return the opposite thing of what we want. No. Yes. All right. Whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, let's pick things up now. All right. We don't have any duplicates anymore, except for one, which is the core, because I forgot to set that one. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm just going to duplicate this code, go over to our onStart. And set it to be, set the cores column and row to be true. Or yellow. And let's test this real quick to make sure I fix that. Awesome. We're not covering up the core. All right. What's next?
Do you want to do the direction thing? Or are we okay with shredded waffles?
Waffles are delicious.
Waffles. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try and do that real quick. Or did you have something, Shannon?
Oh, I was just gonna say it might be cool to like get some enemies and have like a game flow, but the direction thing is also fine.
Yeah, let's do that because we can make this look a little more gamey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this code. And we're going to create an image that is going to be an enemy ship. And I'm going to make this pretty big. And the reason why will become apparent in a second. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this up to look kind of like our ship. So it's going to be made out of these squares. And I'm going to be using a new feature that just got added to Arcade by our wonderful Jacob Carpenter, which is that you can copy and paste now in the Sprite editor. So select something, do this. Whoops. There, how's that for a warship?
Very intimidating. It's symmetrical. Oh no.
Okay. So what we're going to do is on game update every however many seconds, we're going to create one of these warships. Let's create a new variable. We're going to call it warship. And this one is actually going to be a projectile, now that I think about it. Come on, get out.
I think it has to be, yeah.
There you go. So I'm going to set the Vx to be -50, the Vy to be 0, and we're also going to want to give it a random Y, but I'll do that in a second. So cool, we got these guys showing up over here. Way too fast though. 1 second, and we'll make this like -20. Nice and ominous. Maybe 2 seconds. All right. So let's go ahead and add some code to destroy these guys. And what's going to happen is when we destroy, we're going to create ship parts in all of the places where these squares are. And we're going to give them a little bit of velocity so that they kind of go off. It'll look like it exploded. Should be pretty cool, I think, once we get it going. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this kind to be an enemy ship. I probably could have just used the enemy kind, but oh well. And let's go ahead and change our Y value. I'm going to use a random range. And we want to probably do, so this is 32 by 32, so it needs to be at least 16 away from each of the directions. So I'm just going to subtract 20 from the both sides, which will make this 100 for the upper bound and 20 for the lower bound. Cool. That looks like it's working correctly. All right. And now let's go ahead and put some code in for firing. So I'm going to do on A button pressed. I'm going to create another projectile. This time, instead of the from side that we used before, we're going to use from my sprite. And this my sprite is going to be the core for now. Later, we're going to make it so that it's a lot crazier if we have time. But so on A button pressed, projectile from the core with Vx 50 and Vy 0. Projectile is just going to be a little laser beam. So those aren't fast enough. Cool. I'm going to add another extension right now to make this game a little prettier. And it's going to be one of our favorites, status bar, which was made by somebody on this call. But I'm not going to say who.
Do you think they deserve a gold star for making such a beloved extension?
You know what, Joey? Sorry, you're getting a gold star. Okay, so we're going to set this status bar to be width 20, height 4. That seems fine. And we want to attach it to our projectile. So let's go ahead and attach it real quick. Attach status bar to projectile. And I want to put it at the, well, I think the top is fine. Yeah, let's give it some padding, though. Padding to be 2. And let's make it a little thinner. So I'm going to give it height of 2, and I'm going to make it as wide as the sprite. So that'll be 32. Cool. Looks a little weird, but that's fine for now. Let's go ahead and set the max health to be something that is way lower than 100. So we can go ahead and drag out this set property. We're going to set the max to be, let's say, 10. Okay, and let's go ahead and quickly add our overlaps for the projectile and the enemy ship. And I think we're going to have just enough time to get to the fun part. So on sprite of kind projectile overlaps other sprite of kind enemy ship. We want to get the attached status bar and change the value by -1, I mean. So change the status bar of kind health attached to other sprite value by -1. And now we also want to check if the value is equal to 0. If it is, we're going to destroy our enemy sprite.
There's also event for
Yeah, but I don't know how many status bars I'm going to use, so I guess I could switch over the kind. I'm just going to do it.
Easy says it.
All right, let's get the value for this status bar and set it to 0. If it's equal to 0, then we are going to call destroy on other sprite.
With fire?
Will that automatically destroy the attached status bar?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. Joey thinks of everything.
All right.
That's why he has a
I'm
gold
noticing
star.
real quick is that we also need to destroy our projectile. So let's go ahead and do that real quick.
The whole point of lasers is that they go through everything.
All right, cool. We can destroy our ships. But I want to make it so that they do this cool little explodey thing. So we're going to do that as fast as we can.
Go, Richard.
All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these guys that we need to create. And we need to create them in the specific positions. So I probably should have made these ships smaller, but oh well. So let's go ahead and just, I think we can programmatically do this. And it's going to be a little weird, but it'll work. All right, so I'm going to create 2 for loops. This one is going to be ship column. Now let's go ahead and create another one. This one will be ship row. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should go from 0 to 3 for both of these. All right, and we can determine if there is a part in this coordinate by multiplying it by 8, because these are all by 8. And if we check if the pixel is orange within the image of the other sprite, then we know that we need to create a ship part there. So we're going to drag out an if, drag out some math. We're going to drag out a get pixel at, so this one right here, color at. And for the image, we want to get the image from the sprite. Okay. We want to put this inside of an equals. I'm doing the Daryl technique here of building all of my blocks on the workspace and then putting them in here. Oh, whoa, wait. Oh, this sprite should be here. There it is. I was like, I knew I got that block for a reason. And now we need to figure out what color orange is.
4.
Looks like 4, yeah.
Also doing the Daryl technique of doing your if statements backwards.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And I always think about it when Daryl does it too.
It's just a Yoda conditional, right?
Isn't there a color picker block somewhere?
I thought there. Oh, whoops. I don't think I'm using this variable, so I'm gonna set new ship part here. I think that was what I was using for my test code before. We want this to be 8 by 8, just an orange square like we had before. Oops. We want the kind to be unattached ship part. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it to be at the left plus ship row times 8, ship column times 8. Sorry, and the top plus ship. Whoa, I swapped these. Column is X, row is Y. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We're going to set the new ship part left to be the other sprite left. We've been getting down to the wire more and more on these streams, I think.
It's exciting.
Yes. Will we make it?
I'm going to cut off the stream exactly at 2, no matter
no.
what you're doing.
There's no one after us, right? So
I
don't do
think
that.
so.
Okay, and this needs to be ship row.
You should maybe set the velocity to be what the ship's velocity was, and then plus minus some randomness. So then it sort of goes along and but breaks.
I like that. How about if I set the x velocity to just be the same, and the y velocity can be by a random amount?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So let's change this to be new ship part. We want the velocity to be the velocity of the other sprite. So I'll just get one of these. Do Vx. And then for Vy, we're going to do a random range from, I don't know, -10 to 10.
Yep. Ah.
Awesome.
Yay.
I think the VY could be more.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we got to the fun part of the game. I see there's something weird happening where they're like attaching to each other.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's happening. But I'm sure if we were to spend a little bit of time, we could figure it out. Oh, I know what's happening. I think. Am I changing the kind? No. No. Okay, I don't know what it is. All right, well, anyway, we got a kind of fun game out of this, at least one that looks really cool. So real quick, I'm going to do what Shannon suggested and make sure that we make the Y a bit more. And let's go ahead and do outros. So I'm Richard, at Richard on the forums.
I'm Daryl, at Darzu on the forums.
I'm Joey, at JWonderl on the forums.
I'm Shannon, at Shakao on the forums.
And I'm Vivian. I live cheerful on the forums.
And I'm going to call this one Scavenger, unless someone else has an idea.
Sounds good.
Scavenger's good.
All right, cool.
Thanks for watching.